Hi, and welcome to the second of 6 tutorials for iGasLog version 1.2. In this tutorial we'll be looking at how to import data into iGasLog from the RoCA logbook and vice versa, how to export data from iGasLog and back into RoCA logbook. So, starting off with importing, the first protocol naturally now is going to be the RoCA logbook in order to get a hold of the data that we want. And literally you just have to go to File and Export Records. You need to make sure you've got the correct type of file selected. We need to make sure we export to a comma-separated value or comma-separated text file. So make sure that's selected. And we can give the file a title. So I'm going to go for sample cases. Hit save. And it just asks you to confirm field order. Now, 9 times out of 10 this is correct. iGasLog expects to see the fields in a certain order. But that's the field order that's specified by the anesthetic logbook anyway. However, sometimes it can vary, so it's worth just checking. And the order required is date, reference number, date of birth, sex, ASA score, priority, speciality, start and finish times, anesthetic 1, procedures 1 to 3, incidents 1 to 3, supervision, operation, notes, users 1 and 2, anesthetic 2, age and trainee ID. As long as your fields in that order, everything will be fine. Make sure don't format output is selected and hit export. Okay, that file is exported, doesn't take very long, and then once you're done you can quit this application. I'll just minimise it for the time being. And you can see that export file we created is just here. So to get this file onto iGasLog, we'll start up iGasLog on the iPhone and you're ready to go. Now, iGasLog uses your PC's web browser in order to transfer files to and from, and the address that your web browser needs to connect to in order to connect to iGasLog is given down here, where it says portal. And so for this one, it's http://127.0.0.1:8000. So with iGasLog running, if I open up Safari, and I just type that in, 127.0.0.1:8000. That brings up the iGasLog web portal, and you can see that it says it's Joe Bloggs's because that's the name that we put in the previous tutorial. So I wish to import data, so files for import. I need to choose the file that I want. I know it's on a desktop, and we called it sample data. And so that will be there, some sample cases rather. So there it is. We choose that, and we said that that's an immediately takes a very short amount of time, and that's on the iPhone. So we'll just minimise the web browser for the time being. If we go to main menu, import data, we can see it's there. Now, just before we import, it's worth just checking a couple of settings. So we go to settings here. One of the important things to do is to make sure that consultants are set correctly. Now for the moment I'll leave that as no, because I can show you what happens after it's imported to the data that it finds. But the other setting to look at is location. If you've used a particular field in your RoCA logbook to store location, you can tell us what it is here, in this case user 2, and iGasLog will pull the location information from that field. So now we're ready to go, and we can go to import data, and just select the file and off it goes. And that's now going to spend a few moments just importing that. Now, that happens reasonably quickly on the iPhone simulator, which is running on my Mac at the moment. It takes considerably more time on the iPhone, depending on how many cases you got. There were 6,000 cases in this particular export, so that would take quite an amount of time. If you're a fairly junior trainee, you've only got a couple of hundred cases, then it won't take very long at all. But probably enough time to make yourself a cup of tea anyway. Okay, so just give that a moment. And you can see there that it's imported 6,187 of the same number of rows. And we can hit OK. And you can see that the location information has correctly imported from that logbook. So, in a nutshell, that's how to import data. There are 7 incomplete records there. That's fine. Okay, so next job to do then is to, you may wish to export your data back to the RoCA logbook. and that is a very simple process. So all we do for that is we just go to main menu, export data, and again off it goes. So that's just going to take a few moments, and that's going to generate an export file, again in comma separated value format, CSV file format, and in a moment we'll be going into the web browser to pull that off and then to pop that back into the RoCA logbook. So that's done. It's telling me I can now use the web browser to view the file. So I'll bring up the web browser. I'll just refresh that view. You can see that I now have the exported data file to view. Now here, it's probably best just to right click on that and to download the linked file, download it as something, and we'll save that to the desktop, and then we know what it is. Let's call that iGasLog export and then the date.csv, and then click save. Now we've right clicked that rather than left click that. Some browsers will recognise the .csv file extension and try to display the information on the screen, which we don't want to do. We just want to download the file. Okay, so that's done, and let's minimise that. So we're back in the RoCA logbook now, and we wish to import all that data that we've just exported. So to do that, we go to File, Import Records, and we're going to do it from a file. And it's on desktop, and the file we want is just there. That's the one we just created, iGasLog export for today. Hit open. Right, now it's asking you to make sure that all your fields line up. Now, iGasLog, when it exports data, the first row of data is basically header information, basically containing the title of all the columns. So that makes it very easy just to map your fields. So this is data in the export file we just created, and this is fields in the RoCA logbook. Just go down, make sure they all map, and everything's sorted out. Now, interestingly enough, so there are a couple of issues here where they don't, but actually that's by design. So we have our location field, and we want to put that back in to user 2, so that's mapped there. So the user 2 field doesn't explicitly get imported from the export file we've created, so that's fine. Okay, so we're just going to hit import. Just accept that, and that's just going to take a few moments, and you can see that it's importing those. It's got quite a few to import. So I think we'll stop that there, but I think you get the idea. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's how to import and export data to and from iGasLog. If you have any problems with that process, then please do drop us a line at support@iMobileMedic.com. In the meantime, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy using iGasLog.